Hi everyone. So right now we're going to talk about political self. So before we have our discussion, remember we had a pre-topic activity. I've asked you other questions aside from this. So you know your Filipino if. Okay. So now let's define what political self is. Okay. So political self is not what you think. Na because of the word political, it's all about your political views, your what kind of government do you believe in. No, political self is actually not that. Okay, so what is political self? So political self is that an individual's race, ethnicity, physical characteristics, values, and traits which comprises the person's national identity. Okay. So actually, our political self is what we bring with us when we go to another country. So every time we represent our country, okay? Or actually, political self is not all about you being a Filipino, but also your region, okay? Because sometimes, when you go to another country and you meet another Filipino, they will ask you, taga saan ka sa Pilipinas? And then, if they found out that you have the same province, ayon, a tendency is you already speak your own language, or your dialect, right? Aha. And also, yes, physical characteristics. Of course, we are from the brown race, okay? Yon. Okay. So, it's also regional. So, not only, your country, your citizenship, but also your region. Okay, because of ties, of course, we also do go to another place here in the Philippines. Yeah. So it's also regional. Okay, and of course, when you go to another country also. Okay, so our political self actually can either bring honor or disgrace to our country. Okay, so of course, when we represent our country in a prestigious contest, somehow we bring pride to our country, especially if we already win the contest. Okay, and this grace sometimes, when we hear stories about Filipinos doing something not so good in another country, also. Plus, there are also some labels that Filipinos are domestic helpers or Filipinos are filthy. So that like that. Okay. So of course, political self is all about your common goals, principles, and values of the people, okay, that empowers the nation, okay. Of course, our political self somehow unites us as Filipinos. Okay, are you proud to be a Filipino or you're not so proud being a Filipino? Okay, so gaano mo ba kamahal ang bansa mo? Okay, that's your political self. Okay. Uh, Also, our political self defends our country by reacting on certain news and negative comments about us being Filipino. So somehow, we are also sensitive on the news that we hear, especially in another country. Okay, so we defend okay, uh, ang pagiging Pilipino natin. We defend our country. Okay. So, what is a Filipino or who is a Filipino? So, according to 1987 Philippine Constitution, a Filipino is an individual whose fathers or mothers are citizens of the Philippines who elect Philippine citizenship upon the age of majority and those who are naturalized in accordance to law. Okay, so as long as your parents are Filipinos, even if you are born in another country, you're a Filipino. Okay. Not unlike in other countries na dapat you are born in that country and your parents are also citizens of that country. Sa atin, basta as long as the parent is a Filipino, you can also be considered Filipino when you go to the Philippines. Okay. So, of course, uh, we have our own values and traits. What makes us Filipino? Okay, so actually some of them are dying. Okay, remember we had an activity on the anthropological perspective of self. Okay, so what are the dying culture, the dying culture of the Filipinos? Okay, so first we have the Filipino hospitality. So ano ba yung Filipino hospitality? When we, of course, when we receive guests, we welcome them. We prioritize them. When we sa pagkain, sila muna unang kukuha sa hapagkainan. Tapos, we give the best. Okay, the best experience. Okay, the best treatment. Okay, tapos yun nga, may mga gamit sa bahay na pang bisita lang. Pag may bisita lang, tsaka lang nilalabas. Di ba? Remember mo yan yung mga nakatagong mga plato. Yan, nilalabas lang yan kapag may bisita. Okay. So, well, Filipinos are known for this. Okay. But, you know, of course, not all being hospitable also has bad traits too. Okay, ano-ano ba yon? Okay. So actually, I'm going to show you all the Filipino values and traits, but you will be the ones to give me the other side of it. Okay, through um, an activity that you're going to do after. Okay. So yan. So yan yung Filipino hospitality. So next is respect for elders. Okay. So of course, um, uh, Philippines is one of the countries in the world that has, a salutation for elders. So we call uh, our elders ate, kuya, lolo, lola, okay, nanay, tatay. Okay. And then we also have this po and opo. And then apart from that, we also do pagmamano. Okay. So respect for elders. So we have a high regard for elders that their decisions are highly valued and and sinusunod talaga sila. Okay. So again, um, on the activity, sasabihin nyo rin kung ano ba yung downside nito. Okay. Next is close family ties. Okay. So remember during our discussion on the perspective, especially on the sociological perspective, that Filipinos are collective. So we usually live in a compound, katabi natin tayo magkakamag-anak, or we have extended family. Okay. Of course, this is good, okay, but ayun din, may downside. So, kayo rin na magdi-discuss ng sa akin. You'll be the one to analyze, okay? Next, cheerful, cheerful personality. Filipinos are known in another country for being happy, or despite of the challenges that we had, okay, we still manage to smile. Like yung mga dami, naglalakad ka sa baha, nakangatag ka pa rin, dun sa nasa evacuation center ka. Ayun. Okay. Next is self-sacrifice. Okay. This is when, especially nag-OFW, di ba? They sacrifice for the family. Okay. That's why they say that Philippine OFWs are modern day heroes. Okay. For the family, for example, yung eldest, kunyari nakagraduate na siya magpapaaral sa mga nakababatang kapatid. Ganon. Okay. Next, okay, bayanihan. Ito yung when Filipinos work together, okay, to help each other. The usual picture of bayanihan is when, people move the house. Literally ha, kasi dati noon nasa may mga silong noon. So, kayang buhatin yung bahay. Ayun. So, ganon, nililipat yung bahay. But the modern day bayanihan is when you really help each other lang, basically. Okay? You work together, for example, during calamity, okay? Or during mga tragedy. Okay? Next, okay, is, aha, okay, sorry. Okay, next is, bahala na attitude. Okay, bahala na, the word bahala na comes from the word bathala na because Filipinos are prayerful people. Okay, so every time that we make decisions, we always pray to the Lord, to bathala. Okay, so yun. So, kaya yan siya naging bahala na. So, usually, we do this when, you don't feel, you are not prepared on something, on doing something. Kunyari, mag-e-exam, hindi ka nakapag-prepare, bahala na, di ba? Okay. So, ano sa tingin nyo pa ang ibang repercussions or bad things about this attitude? Okay. Next is colonial mentality. Okay. We have been colonized for for 300 years for sa Spanish, tapos 40 years American, and then 3 years Japanese. So somehow ganun yung length nung ano natin nung living natin with foreigners, with colony. So somehow at this modern day, we were able to build this mentality that they are more superior than us. Okay. So we always think that their products are better than local products, or the kind of services that they provide are better than we provide here. Next, mañana habit. Okay, mañana is a Spanish word meaning tomorrow. So, Filipinos, we always uh, do things the following day instead of doing it today, okay, resulting to, nagka-cram. Okay. Next is ningas kugon. Ano ba yon? Kugon is a type of grass na kapag sinindihan mo, mabilis siyang kumalat at mabilis ding namamatay. So, ningas, of course, means you light it up. Okay. So, ano ba ibig sabihin nito? Ito yung sinasabi pag na magaling ka lang sa una. Okay? And then, later on, tatama rin na. Okay, wala na enthusiasm. Okay. Next, pride. Okay. So, Filipinos, well, of course, we are proud of being a Filipino, but sometimes, our pride also kills us, okay, in a way that we don't accept that our culture, being Filipino is not also so good. Okay, for example, um, when we watch movies, okay, this is what I observed. Okay, when Filipinos are mentioned in movies, we react negatively even if we know that it's only fiction. Okay? Fictional lang yun, hindi naman totoo. Pero nagre-react tayo masyado. Sabihin na, hindi naman ganyan mga Pilipino, blah, 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 blah. One example is, there's this TV show before called Desperate Housewives. And then one of the episodes mentioned that, this character will go to a cosmetic surgeon, and then she mentioned na I have to see first the credentials of this Filipino doctor. Parang ganon. So, na-offend ang mga Pilipino. Nag-react. Okay? Tapos, as usual, we already heard that in some regions also, they already branded some people as ingrata. Okay? They cannot step in this, they cannot step in that place anymore. It's because of pride also. Okay? Parang bawal may nasasabing hindi maganda. towards Filipinos. Okay. Next is crab mentality. Okay. What is crab mentality? Is when you pull each other down. Okay, instead of uh, you know uh, lifting each other up, to, especially to the peak of success. Okay, pinupul pa. Kumbaga, nandun ka sa taas, tapos may nasasabi pa sa mga kapwa mo. Okay, it doesn't only happen here in the Philippines, but also in another country, especially if you are working with a fellow Filipino, iniisipan ka na hindi maganda. Okay. And then last one is Filipino time. Okay, pag sinabi Filipino time is always late. So let's change it. Okay? So here, okay, so part of your activity is that you will write down the negative side of these Filipino values and traits. Okay? So next, okay, so ano ba yung other marks or symbols of being a Filipino? Of course, we have proverbs or saliwikain. Okay, so mga kasabihan natin. Okay? Like for example, kung may masusuksok, may madudukot, kung maikli ang kumot, matutong mamaluktot. Okay. Next is superstition. Filipinos are known to be very superstitious. Okay, like for example, yung nasa patay, dapat palaging may kandila, wag mawala ng kandila, or else yung patay baka maligaw sa afterlife, or bawal din iwanan ng patay, mga ganon. Tapos, sinasabi pa na, kunyari, naiihi ka na, tapos sa tabi-tabi kay ihi, you will say tabi-tabi po, diba? Okay, so marami pa yan. Myths and legends. Of course, we have our own local stories like yung uh, alamat ng pinya, um, yung ano pa ba yung storya ni Maria Makiling, story ng ano ba nagkaroon ng Chocolate Hills, o nagkaroon ng 100 Islands, and so forth and so forth. Okay? And heroes and icons. Okay, so we also have modern day heroes and modern day icons. Like for example, Manny Pacquiao for boxing, Lea Salonga. Okay, sila yung masasabi mo mga world class uh, Filipino citizens. Okay. So now, okay, how are you going to be a good Filipino? Okay. Of course, understanding the self is also teaching you that to embrace your Filipino roots. Okay, hindi natin kakahiya siya. Okay. So how to be? So first, of course, be a good citizen. Okay, so follow the rules. Okay. Also respect people in authority. Okay, next is study the Philippine history. You should be loving, our history, our culture, okay? Because that's part of you appreciating how we are right now, okay, at present. Next is support local products. Okay. Next is speak the Filipino language. Okay. Importante to. Kasi a lot of Filipinos do not want to speak the language because they feel it's difficult. But it's part of you being a Filipino if you know how to speak the language, or else it will die. Remember when we talk about anthropology, okay, in the linguistics, some languages die. So by learning the language, you are preserving the culture as well. Okay. Next is do not spread fake news and be democratic in engaging with dissent. Okay, yan. This is very important, especially in social media. Okay, before we share news, okay, we must be very critical first. Okay, if it's relevant or if the facts are straight. Okay, so that's it. Okay, and then you will have an individual activity. So apart from giving me some of the negative traits of the Filipino people based on the slide. In this presentation, we'll also answer this question. Okay, so that's it. If you have any other questions, you may ask me. Okay, feel free to ask me. Okay, um, so that's it. Okay, we will learn more about different selves in the next sessions. So study hard, take care, and God bless.